Welcome back to Belding Hill Farms, everyone. I'm going to apologize up front for all the animal noises that we're likely to hear in the background. My geese, Gerald and Helga, are making a racket right now in the barn. At any rate, today's what we're going to take on is building a bee vacuum. I've not made one before, but I've researched it on YouTube and come up with what I think is going to work for us. The reason we're building a bee vac is because we've been asked by a local homeowner to go and help her out with some bees she has that are going underneath the flashing of her house, and they've made their way into a small roof over a bay window in her house. So I went down last week and pulled one board off the top of her roof so I could be sure that that's where in fact they were, and they were. I found I don't know, maybe a medium-sized, it's not a humongous colony, but there's quite a few bees there. So anyways, we need to make a bee vac, so that's what we're going to do today. So first thing I did is that I'm cheap, so I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on a bee vacuum. So I went to the people on our Facebook page that follow our little farm, and I asked them for to see if anyone had an old central vac hose or an old shop vac hose, and I did have someone who gave me an old central vac hose that they had, and I have my own shop vac already, so I had that hose. So I basically walked into our local home hardware here in Canada, and I took the two ends with me until I could find some fittings that these were going to fit on. So I found this one. There'd be no good of me telling you what fittings I used, because you really have to do it for yourself based on whatever vacuum you have and whatever hose you have. But I found this one that works perfect, so I'm going to use that one. And then I found this guy here that's for like a sink drain. Works perfect for the central vacuum line. So it's going to go in there, and it'll let me tighten up onto the vacuum line itself, and that's perfect. And then I also bought this piece here that will, when the vacuum's not in place, I'll be able to close off the hole that is in my catch bucket. Again, there's no sense in me telling you what pieces I bought, because my advice would be to do what I did. Go get the cheapest hose you can get, which is hopefully free, and then just go to the store and see what works for you. So this guy will spin on here on my catch bucket once I'm done, and then I just put a cap over top of him like so. So that'll keep the bees in when I'm when I'm done vacuuming. So the basic gist of what I'm doing is that I'm going to take, I've got a couple of size buckets because I want to make sure this is going to work, but I got a 19-liter bucket. I got two of those with covers, so I got two covers, and I got a cover and a 15-liter bucket. And the plan is that this smaller bucket will have its lid on. It will be my catch bucket that the bees will actually go into. I'm going to cut the rim off of this bigger bucket, the 19-liter, and I'm going to set it right down over top of this in order for it to make it seal. And then I will put a lid on the bigger bucket, and I'll put that hose piece that I was saying right onto here. My vacuum will hook to here, and I'll make some sort of a baffle here that I'll be able to control the amount of vacuum, because a normal shop vac would kill the bees. It would suck them that hard. So I'm just going to cut a hole in the lid next to it, and I'll make some sort of an adjustment so I can basically make the vacuum what I want. So that's the basic gist of it, and at the end of the day, it's for me, it's going to be cheaper. Like, I'm going to end up making a bee vac for maybe 40 bucks, somewhere around there, 50 bucks. And I have the video that I kind of most closely copied. He's from, I think, Florida, and he had said that in the States that they have at Home Depot they have a bucket head, I believe it's called, and it's a shop vac that goes directly on to the top of one of these buckets. I did price them out here in Canada, but they were like $90 by the time I got just that, and I already had a shop vac, so I figured why be into one of these for $250 when I could be into it for significantly less. So that's where we're going. So what I've decided to do is to take an old piece of baler twine. The smaller bucket is the one that I intend to be my catch bucket. So, and I'm okay with the other bucket sliding right down to the rim if need be. So I'm just running that around, and I'm getting the perimeter of that bucket, and then wherever that hits together here should be about where they're going to put together at. So if I'm guessing, this is going to work. I really just want to know if it's going to work. So I think this bucket is going to pretty much slide right down almost to that ridge if I just cut the bottom of this bucket off. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, so I was going to use the saw to do this, but I think in actual fact it'd be just my knife may do, utility knife, or I'm using my big knife, but I think that might help me keep a better seal, because the important thing for me here is that when the two buckets go together that they still have to seal, because I don't want bees climbing out, and I want to be able to control the vacuum I have. So this actually seems like it's working pretty good, and all I've done is just gone just into the bottom of the bucket. So basically I'm trying to take off the least of the bucket that I can. So I got that very close to the bottom of the bucket, so that's what I was looking for. And now the big test will be to see how this one fits on this one. That's perfect. That's perfect. So that's good. That's exactly what I was looking for. Okay, good. Okay, so now next step. Now I've got the two buckets together, and again the bottom one's going to be my catch bucket, and the top one's going to be just the part that my regular shop vac connects to. So this is the lid that's going to go on the top one, so I need to now make a connection for my shop vac. So this is a fitting that just fit my shop vac. Yours will be whatever it is, and I managed to get this cap, drain cap, that seems to fit pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hole in my bucket lid that's the size of that. So I found my hole saws, and I got one that's just a little bigger than this guy, and I'm going to cut him in here, and then I'm going to, and this has a nice O-ring seal on it, so I'm going to just take and screw that into this one, and that should hold that nicely. So basically I just got to put my hole saw in here. Find the center of my lid, which is pretty easy. Actually, before I do that, because there's a little tiny tip right there, I'm going to just cut that off so that my drill can start in there a little easier. I use my knife for everything. Perfect. That's not so perfect. This should be better. Okay. Now this should theoretically fit right in there. That's excellent. That's as good as I could have hoped for with that. Now, the only next thing I have to do is I have to cut the center of this fitting out. So what I'm going to do is just go down to a smaller sized hole saw. And that's only because I need this to still pass vacuum through it. That would not be good the way it is. So now I just got to start this dead center of that fitting. That's what I'm looking for there. Everything's nice and tight there, so that part's good. Okay, so now I have to get a hole down on my catch bucket down in here that I can connect this guy to. Okay. So the idea is this is a glued fitting here. I'm going to just stick the glued fitting out through the edge, and I'm going to glue this onto here. However I can get that to fit, and that should be perfect. Take a little of this. Yeah. Oh, come on. I swear I'm not normally this weak. Okay, I have to pause and go get a wrench. I'll probably make a mess because that's what I typically do with this glue. Stick that through that hole. Stick this guy right on there. I guess now while I have the glue out, I can put this part together, and this is going to be the part that basically once I turn off the vacuum, that I can put this over top the hole to keep any bees in that I catch. Same thing here. Oh great, now I have a yapping dog in the background. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to set this down here so I don't get it everywhere, and I'm going to go put that dog away. So this bucket's going to sit on here. My shop vac is going to connect to here, so it's going to pull a vacuum in this. And then I need to get the vacuum that's going to be created up here into this bucket. So I'm just going to use a small drill bit, and I'm going to drill a bunch of holes around the perimeter of this lid, and I'm going to drill them down. So I put some pencil marks here, just to basically where this bucket connects at. So I'll make some holes around the perimeter of the bucket here and around the top of the bucket there, but I'll make them small enough to make sure that a bee can't climb out through them. So that's the next step here, is to drill a whole bunch of holes. Alright folks, so I'm back, and I've applied a little bit of redneck ingenuity here. So all I did was, and I don't know why I didn't show this on camera, but I didn't, and now it's too late. I took and cut off half of that bucket, the bottom of the bucket that I cut off. Okay, I set it so that the rim of it was kind of lined up with the rim of the upper bucket. All right, and I just took a couple of pieces of the white flashing metal that I had from making my beehives, and I just bent them over and kind of so that they would hold on to this piece of plastic. And I put a screw under each corner underneath, and then I bent them over. And I've just set it up so that now I can make an adjustment on here from completely closed to partially open, or anywhere in between. And I just cut a rough hole out of the top of this bucket. So now what that's going to do is that when I put my vacuum on here, I'll be able to use this little gate to control how much vacuum that I actually develop down in this part of the bucket. All right, folks, so I apologize in advance for my poor cameramanship, but what I thought I had caught on in frame, I had not. So I've included a small picture up to the right from later on in the video of what it looks like, so you'll be able to still listen to what I'm saying, but use a picture above for reference. And I'm going to say intuitively, without trying it out, I'm going to say it's too much vacuum. And then I can open that hole about halfway, and now I barely have vacuum, but I still have enough to pick up some of these little flakes that are on the back of the truck. So I'm thinking somewhere in about there, maybe. Still got vacuum, but not a huge amount. So now I'm going to have to all right, so you know, not that there's any, because it's going to depend on the vacuum you're using, because I'm using a very large vacuum, but I'm ending up with the hole being, you know, fairly open. And now I'm going to have to organize a trial with some, I'll either take it up to my bees that you can see up in the background and maybe just try taking a few off the comb, or I might go find somewhere in my barn that has some flies and try sucking the flies up to see how it works. But I think that's going to work. So I'm very happy. Again, it's not like I'm a professional bee remover, and I suspect this will probably, even though it's a very cheap setup, I would be shocked if this doesn't last me for a while with the amount that I use it. And the good thing is I'm not into it for any amount of money. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will follow this up with a test on some bees, and like I said, I'm planning to go Monday to do this cutout. But I think what I like about this little adjustment is it gives me the ability to control it. If I'm doing too much damage to the bees, or if I'm too violently sucking them up, then I'll be able to adjust that. So. All right, thanks folks, and I'll see you in the next video. If you like our content, please like and subscribe and watch for more. I know that right now it appears like we are primarily a bee channel, but we actually are a homestead primarily, and we just happen to have put up a lot of bee videos. Anyways, see you folks. So this is my beautiful wife Jill and my daily milk cow, Windsor Rose Barnabas Honeybee for short. So we're going to use her for a trial here. You'll notice there that these flies are much quicker than bees would be, pardon the pun. They're jumping away from me, so you see me trying to use the sneak approach on sucking them up. But I mean, either way, I was sucking some flies up, so the ultimate test will be seeing if they've made it alive into my catch bucket. And again, if I can do this with on these flies, then I'll definitely be able to do it with bees. All right, so let's see if we got any bees. So we used our, let's see here what we got. So we take the top off there. Just to simulate the exact same thing as what we would do if there were bees in there. We're going to spin this right off. That will pull off, and then this will thread right on to block any bees that are in there. Now we'll do that when it's still under vacuum normally. So now, if we've done good by, if we had our vacuum pressure set good, and I believe I was sucking up flies, and we should have flies inside this bucket, and we do. So I'm going to call this a success for the evening, and I think we're just about ready to go catch our bees on Monday. All right, folks, have a great day, and thanks for watching. Again, if you like our content so far, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye. All right, I thought I'd give you a quick preview of the upcoming video of the bee removal. So the bees are in the roof of this little dormer here, a little bay window. And here's a view after we get some of the roof off. So it's quite a few bees, lots of comb. So that'll be an upcoming video. Thanks, folks.